Why do you feel that stem cell research should be allowed?
I feel that stem cell research should be allowed because it is for the greater good of humanity.
Why is it in the greater good of humanity?
It's the greater good of humanity because they're going to be wasted cells. They're going to be cast away. They already are being disposed of in biological waste. They're being thrown in dumpsters, and why not use these cells for the greater good?
Are you very aware of what exactly happens during the process of stem cell research?
Yes, I am very aware of what happens during stem cell research. I know what happens whenever the harvesting of the cells, and I know what happens during the research. The harvesting of the cells happens whenever a certain female decides not to have a baby, and they get these T cells from the embryonic cells of a unborn child, which will be disposed of and thrown into a landfill somewhere. Why would we not use these cells to investigate for our greater good of humankind?
It has also been said to be declared illegal in some countries. How do you feel about that?
How do I feel about legalities of different countries? Well, laws are laws, and some laws are binding because of religious beliefs, and some are because of the way that the society thinks. So, just depends on where you live.
Okay. Destroying an embryo can be compared to that of killing a comatose person. This is because both the embryo and comatose people lack self-awareness, cannot feel anything, and are also unable to process their feelings.
So, killing or disposing of an embryo is comparable to disposing of a comatose person. There's two different things between the attachment of a comatose person and an embryo, where a comatose person has lived on the land for a lot longer than an embryo. The comatose person has attachments. They have a lot of people outside making the choices for them, whereas the embryo has not had a chance to even experience anything. It has not even had its first breath yet.
Are you aware that therapeutic cloning and regenerative medicines are other prospects of this research?
Cloning is awesome.
Cloning is vehemently objected to those who are against it.
If I could have a clone of myself, I would have one.
Very good, very good. Stem cells are basically found in most multicellular organisms, if not all. It is a relatively new field of research that entails employing primitive human cells and developing them into any of the numerous types of cells in the human body, including the blood and the brain cells.
Yes, they are unprogrammed cells, and you can actually train them to jump through whatever hoops that you want to have the body do them in. So they are the best kind of cells that you can have, so why not have as many of them as possible? We are behind the times by not exploring our capabilities with stem cells.
I feel that human life shouldn't be compromised for any purposes, even if it is in the form of an embryo.
What is your description of a human life?
Something that is living and breathing, that has a heart that beats.
Okay, so does it live or breathe? Does it breathe?
Yes.
It does breathe? Cells breathe?
No.
Well,
but either way, it is still almost a human, either way.
it could almost be a human.
It is in the process of becoming a newly developed human being.
It is in the process of becoming something.
A human being.
It could be a human being. It could be a failed birth. It could be a murderer. It could be a criminal. It could be the next president. It could be.
But
There's always
every embryo could be like that. Every embryo could be born as a murderer or anything like that.
Right.
That doesn't mean we should kill them and make them into our science projects.
Yeah, that is the one interesting view about this project that you're on, is everyone is allowed to have their own opinion on the subject.
Thank you.
You're welcome.